Hey there, welcome back to my kitchen. I did want to start off by saying I am sorry for not having my video out on Sunday. I just was not feeling the best the night before. However, today I have a video for you with 4 new side dish recipes. I love when I can make a good little side dish to go along with my protein or whatever else I'm having, but I hope you enjoy these recipes as much as we did. Let's go ahead and get started. Starting off today, we're going to make these stuffed garlic crescent rolls. They have mozzarella cheese inside. They are so good. To begin, I am just preheating my oven to 375 degrees. Next, into this little bowl, I added in 2 tablespoons of butter. My butter was unsalted, 1 teaspoon of minced garlic, a couple shakes of salt, half a teaspoon of oregano, and a 1/4 teaspoon of parsley. Go ahead and put that in the microwave for 20 to 30 seconds to melt the butter. Next, you'll just need 1 can of crescent rolls. I'm going to go ahead and roll those out and separate them all. You will also need 4 mozzarella cheese sticks. You only need 4 because we are going to cut all these in half, and you'll just use half a mozzarella stick for each crescent roll. I'm going to add that melted butter into each one of these crescent rolls, add my half piece of mozzarella cheese, roll them up nice and tight, and then we will add these over to a baking sheet once we have them all stuffed and rolled up. You will want to add some parchment paper underneath of these just so the cheese does not stick to your pan. Trust me, it'll make cleanup a million times easier. You should still have at least half of your butter mixture left, so go ahead and take the rest of that garlic butter and cover the tops of your crescent rolls. I stuck these in my oven to bake for right around 10 to 12 minutes until the tops were nice and golden. I went ahead and just served these along some spaghetti this night, kept it nice and easy. This dinner took hardly no time at all, but it was still really delicious, even though it was just a simple spaghetti dinner. Up next, we're going to make these creamy noodles, and I'm going to link this recipe down below for you because it is definitely not my recipe. To begin, I'm going to take about 8 ounces of angel hair pasta and get that cooking in some boiling water. Now over into a skillet, I'm adding in about 2 tablespoons of butter. After letting that melt down, I'm going to add in a nice big spoonful of some garlic. After letting that garlic cook for about 30 seconds, go ahead and add in about 6 ounces of room temperature cream cheese. I just used my spoon to break that up a little bit in there, and we're also going to add about 3 to 4 tablespoons of sour cream. Her recipe says to use about 5 tablespoons of milk. I'm using half and half just because that's what I always have in my fridge. Once all that's in the pan, I'm going to go ahead and mix that up and let that cream cheese melt down. Next, for the seasonings, you'll add 2 to 3 teaspoons of Cajun seasoning. Mine is a homemade Cajun seasoning, so if you are using a store-bought Cajun seasoning, just be careful because it might be a little bit salty. Then you'll add a 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder and just a little bit of salt and pepper to taste. Once the cream cheese has completely melted down and the seasonings are all mixed in, go ahead and add in about a 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. Give that just a minute to melt down, and by that point your spaghetti should be ready to go, so I went ahead and drained that and added it right into that pan of sauce. Here is what my finished plate looked like after I got that all mixed together. I just went ahead and topped it with some parsley, and we served it alongside some butterfly shrimp. With those butterfly shrimp, you actually just put those in the oven and cook them from frozen, so I didn't really do much there. But with this pasta, this made this dinner feel so comforting and so filling. We really enjoyed this pasta. Out of all the recipes in today's video, this one is my favorite. We're gonna make some homemade Cheddar Bay biscuits, and believe it or not, this recipe is very quick. It only takes about 20 minutes from start to finish. You will need to preheat your oven to 400 degrees. First, into this bowl, I'm adding in 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of sugar, half a teaspoon of salt, and then I'm just going to give this a quick mix together. You will also need 1 stick of unsalted butter, and I did just go ahead and try to cube that up a little bit. Dump that right into the flour mixture, and then I'm going to use my hands to break up the butter into this flour mixture until it's nice and crumbly. Normally I would just use a fork for this, but believe it or not, every single fork I had in this house was in the dishwasher when I was making this recipe, so I just had to use my hand for this. And it should come out looking nice and crummy just like this. Next, I'm adding in 1 cup of medium cheddar cheese. You could also use mild or sharp if you prefer, but medium has just the right flavor for this recipe. Then add 1 cup of buttermilk, and since I already used my hand for this earlier, I just went ahead and kept using my hand and got that all mixed together. Once it has all come together and is looking something like this, you can go ahead and start adding them to your baking sheet. I'm just using this well-loved pizza pan. This pan is amazing. Nothing ever burns on this pan, so I like to use it for everything. I'm going to make these into pretty large biscuits. You can make them a little smaller if you want to. I just took a nice handful of them, very gently rounded the edges out, and then added them to my pan, making sure to have a little bit of space between each one. When I make these, I usually get between 10 and 12 biscuits out of it. I stuck those in the oven to bake for right around 15 minutes. While those are in the oven, we're going to go ahead and make the topping. Into this little bowl, I have half a stick of unsalted butter. I'm adding in a half teaspoon of dried parsley, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, and 1.5 teaspoons of minced garlic. Just go ahead and add that into the microwave for about 30 seconds until it is all the way melted. Here is what the biscuits will look like coming out of the oven. You will notice that the bottoms should be golden but not overly brown. The top should have a couple dark spots, and the cheese should be melted, and they should be done at this point. When the biscuits are done cooking, you can go ahead and take that garlic butter mixture and cover those generously all over the tops. If you're gonna make anything out of this video, let it be these biscuits because they are phenomenal and I could eat a whole plate of these by myself. I actually just went ahead and served these with some chicken stroganoff I was making later that evening as well. That recipe should be in a video next week. Last but not least, this is another really easy side dish that I like to make from time to time. We like to call these Steakhouse potatoes just because they have a little bit more flavor than your regular mashed potatoes. To begin, I have about 4 to 6 cups of water here. I'm adding in 2 chicken bouillon cubes into this, and I'm gonna let this come to a boil. Over onto my cutting board, I have about 9 red potatoes here. These are all about medium to small. This is approximately 2 pounds of potatoes. I'm just removing any spots that I don't like the looks of and then cubing these up with the skin on. You will also need some fresh garlic for this recipe. As you can see, I have about 3 cloves here. I like to use between 4 to 5, but I only had 3 on this day. So you will want to go ahead and slice all of those in half. That way they can cook a little bit better in here. Add the garlic and all of the potatoes into that boiling water. Give them a stir and let them go until the potatoes are fork tender. Once they are fork tender, go ahead and drain off all that water. The potatoes should have absorbed some of that chicken bouillon flavor, so that's why we did that in the first place. Next, I'm adding in about half a stick of butter, just kind of covering that up so it can melt in there, along with about 4 to 5 ounces of cream cheese. Usually I just use half of the block, or if I have a little bit more than a half a block, then I'll just add what I have in there. I'm going to give those a second to melt down a little bit, and then just taking my potato masher, I'm going to mash all of this up. And then you will add in a little bit of milk. You can add as much milk as you want to. I'm using half and half. I just start with a little bit and then add more as I need to until I get to the texture that I like. As for the seasonings, this is another one of those things you can just do to your personal liking. Just go ahead and add in some salt, pepper, and garlic powder. Give this a good stir together and then give it a taste. If it needs anything else, take this time to go ahead and add that in there now. And finally, to finish it off, we are going to add in some chives. These are just some dried chives. I like to add in about a teaspoon or so of these. Give that one more good mix together, and then these are ready to go. But this is what it'll look like when it is all done. You can see the potato skin in there and the chives. We just love these. They're a little bit different than normal mashed potatoes, but still so good. And on this night, we actually ate these with some fish sticks. Again, keeping it really simple on the side there. I think having the potato skins in here adds a lot more good flavor and texture. But this is just a fun way to change up your mashed potatoes and have a little bit different of a flavor one night. So I hope you give these ones a try as well. Thank you guys so much for being here today and watching today's video. I really appreciate it. Don't forget, if you watched all the way to the end of this video, please leave me a flower down in the comments below to let me know that you did. And I promise I will see you back here on Sunday with a new video. Bye!